Hi friends, Lindsay here from Diary of a Homeschool Mama, and today I'm here for week 2 update on Moving Beyond the Page. We are using the 7 to 9 program. I just wanted to give you guys an update on what we've been doing this week. So we are still working through the social studies unit, economic cycles, and the language arts unit that corresponds with it, which is the family under the bridge. Sorry, cats. My female cat she had kittens 12 weeks ago. So these kittens are getting ready to go to their new homes soon. They actually leave in a couple days. So they are all over the place. They're 12 weeks old and they are pretty crazy. So sorry for that interruption. I can't promise that it won't happen again. So we're working through economic cycles and the family under the bridge. These units are about 3 weeks long, doing them 4 days a week. So this is our second week. Next week will be our final week with these units. And in my week 3 update, I'll let you know which units we're doing next, because I'm not 100% positive what we are doing next for sure. So let's go ahead and start with what we did in the economic cycles this week. So let's see. I believe we covered this lesson. We covered capital and natural resources and producing and consuming. So I'm going to go ahead and flip to that lesson. Okay, so we started the week here in lesson 3, If You Made a Million. This was a 2-day lesson, and this book went along with it. I'll show you more of that in just a second. So the first thing that we did is and I think I actually covered this one in my last video for week 1. I don't know why I did that, because it was definitely part of week 2. But when I filmed week 1's update, we were already into week 2, so I think I just got myself a little bit confused. So the first activity that we did after reading this If You Made a Million book was we went through and I gave my child some of the play money that we have, and he was going through and giving me these amounts with the play money, but in different ways. Like, instead of using maybe a 5 and a 1 for the 6, he was giving me $6 bills, that kind of thing. So we were working through that, and then we were also working through making change. Okay, so a lot of this was review for him, but it was also a fun activity. We set up kind of like a bank, and it was a lot of fun. So a lot of this is very hands-on, which is definitely right up my son's alley. And then the next thing we did was we made a list of the different jobs in this book. So there's some different, when you open it up, there's some different jobs, like bake a cake, earn $5. So we went through and made a list of all those jobs that we could find in the book, and we talked about if we thought that that was a fair amount of money to make for that task or job. So we did that, and it really ties in well with the family under the bridge unit, because this family, they're homeless, and the older man, he's never really held a job and that kind of thing. So it was kind of interesting to go through and look at these different jobs and then think about some of the things that they could be doing to earn money and not be in that situation. So everything really ties in very, very well. Okay, and then moving into day 2, this was a 2-day lesson. We were doing an activity where we were talking about interest and checks. So we did go ahead and fill out some checks. I'm not going to show them to you because they have our personal information, like our last name and address and everything on them. But we did have a lot of fun with this, him learning how to write checks. I can remember that during the week, day 2 was kind of a hard day for us. My son was really tired, and he was moving kind of slow, and it was just not a great day. So this day was not our best day, and we didn't do every single thing that was on the list to do. So yeah, we didn't do this. And we did do this. This was a worksheet that we had to do where we talked about what you would do with $1. So that was this worksheet. And we just went through, because in the book, If You Made a Million, they go through all of these amounts, and the character makes that much money doing certain jobs. So we talked about if I made $1, I would, and just going through. And we got down to if I made $1 million, I would, and he said he would open an arcade. So it was really fun to kind of go through like what we would do with certain amounts of money. And I really enjoyed talking with him about like what kind of arcade he would have and, you know, just how he would achieve that. So it was really fun. Sorry, my cat is meowing like crazy. This video is very unprofessional. So I'm definitely not a professional YouTuber. And then we moved into lesson 4, which was capital and natural resources. And we had a ton of fun with this one. His dad was actually home while we were working on this, so he was able to kind of help us dive deeper into it, and it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of good discussions. So we went through and talked about the different capital and natural resources. And we just talked about it. We didn't do like any writing or anything for that one. Then we went through and discussed wants and needs again. I love how review is built in to this very well. So this was the page we needed to do for wants and needs. We went through and it had needs over here like drinks, clothing, food. And then over here it had some wants like toys, technology and tools. Another need, which was transportation. But the main thing that we did was we went through and talked about like what each thing was made from. So a bottle of apple juice, it's got sugar, apples, and then the bottle's made of plastic. So we talked about which ones were natural resources and which ones were capital resources. So this was a fun little activity. And then after that, we had this one to do, which was services. We had to go through different services like plumber, nurse, mechanic, that kind of thing. And we had to talk about the types of things that are needed for this type of job, like the goods that they need to do their job. So like for a nurse, we have syringe, stethoscope, medicine. And then he had to come up with his own at the end. So he chose a firefighter, and we talked about the things that a firefighter would need. So that was a fun activity. And then the final lesson of the week was lesson 5, producing and consuming. So we went through and talked about producers and consumers. And we went through and made a list of different goods and services, and he circled the goods in red and the services in blue, and we just had a lot of really good discussions with this activity. And then we talked about opportunity cost. We actually read this book again and discussed opportunity cost. And like it says here, we talked about, we listed some different things that he's purchased, okay? And then we had to talk about the amount of money spent and that kind of thing. So it was really fun. And then moving on, we did this activity where he became a producer of a good. So we talked about some different things that he could produce and sell. And that was pretty much the week with this economics unit. So we had a lot of fun this week. We only had one day where it was kind of iffy. We just were having an off day. So that was that this week. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly go through what we did for the Family Under the Bridge language arts. So we're obviously reading this book with it. So we read a couple chapters this week. And let me go to the table of contents. So I know we did A Day in the City, Singing, The Shoe, and Among Friends. So that was lesson 4. So I'm just jump ahead to that. All right, lesson 4. So this day was very fun. So we got to go through, since this book is set at Christmas time, we got to go through and talk about Christmas in France. We watched some videos on YouTube about the differences in Christmas in France and in America. We talked about giving, and we came up with some different ideas of things that we could do for families in need. We have not been doing the grammar in this unit. And that was pretty much all for the first lesson. We did this Venn diagram. We learned a lot of fun things about the difference in Christmas in France and Christmas in America. So that was a lot of fun. And then we had lesson 5, singing. Okay. So this was the first activity that we did. We had to reread page 27 in the book. And we had to talk about some of the things that people were buying from the vendors in Paris during Christmas time. And we talked about, are those wants or are those needs? And we kind of broke that down. And then this was day 2, the day we were having kind of a rough day. So we did not do this writing assignment, which I was okay with because we're still using our Good and the Beautiful language arts. So if we don't get a writing assignment done in here, I'm totally okay with that. But this was one of the worksheets that we had to do. So we had to go through the economic cycle here. So we talked about like what needs the children in the book have. So they need food and a home. And what service did they do to make money? So they sang for people, Christmas carols, and then what they bought with their money. So that was a fun little activity. And then for lesson 6, the shoe. Let's see, what activities did we do? We are not doing this for this this activity or for this unit, nor did we do this. So we jumped down to activity 3, gypsies, and we had to do, sorry, so much flipping around. We had to do this little diagram. So we were talking about the differences and similarities in the children and the gypsies. And then we did a little pop-up Eiffel Tower. So it was like a little lap book type piece. Like something you would see in a lap book, I guess. So this is it. We did not cut it out, but he drew the Eiffel Tower here. He kind of messed up. He was supposed to draw it like centered, but it's okay. And then he drew the flag for France, and he was drawing like a display of macaroons, but he never got to the macaroon part. So like I said, this week was kind of off, and I just kind of went with the flow of how his mood was and how things were going. So, but yeah, so we had a couple really good days, and then we had one day that was just kind of But this is the last lesson that we did for the week. So we did not do the meeting characters. The next unit that we do, though, I want to make sure that we do all the activities. So even if it is extra language arts for him, I still want to go ahead and cover it. And then we did this activity. We discussed some different things about the gypsies and how they were willing to care for people who needed help. We discussed the cycle of wants and needs, jobs, money, and goods and services. So we kind of just did like a review. We did not do the vocab or this. So that was pretty much our week with Moving Beyond the Page. As you can see, there's a lot of activities that we don't utilize in the language arts. And like I said, I really want to pick that up more in our other units. But for this first one, I didn't want to overwhelm him with so much language arts. Since we're already using another program for language arts, I didn't want to have so much on top of it. But as I've gone through the units, like this one and some of the other ones that I've already gotten in the mail, it's not like it's going to take long. So I think we will definitely be utilizing more of the language arts next time. So that is how our week went with the Moving Beyond the Page 7 to 9 curriculum. It was a pretty good week. I'm very excited for next week because next week is the final week of these units. Not that I want them to be done, but I'm excited for the final project and the economics one. So stay tuned to find out all about that, because I'll definitely be talking all about that in my week 3 update. And then I'll be telling you which units we're doing next, because I haven't even figured that out yet. But I will definitely keep you guys posted, and stay tuned for my week 3 update. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.